Okay, call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Spiritu?
Here.
Mr. Gorbitz?
Here.
Ms. Laird is not here presently. Mr. Price?
Here.
Mrs. Ray?
Here.
Okay, approve or amend and sign the minutes of the regular meeting held April 26th, 2021, and the special meeting held May 3rd, 2021. Moved by Mrs. Ray.
Second.
Second by Mr. Price. Any questions or concerns regarding the minutes? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz?
Yes. Motion carried. Okay. Do we have any walk-on items?
I do actually, Mr. Gorbitz. Thank you. I just passed out to the board a late resignation for Alyssa Fry. We're going to add that on in section 14, item 22. It won't be a new item, so the numbering will stay the same. It'll just be one tucked in with some other resignations. So just got that today. So if you could add that, thank you. That's the only walk-on that I have, Mr. Gorbitz.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Okay, just a couple things for me, and then I'm going to turn it over actually to Ira and our guest. We just quickly, next meeting, Mrs. Ray, we talked about maybe covering some of the things that you've been going to and talking about. So you and I will be meeting sometime in the next week or so to sort of chew on that. But I also wanted to throw out to the board, I don't know how heavy that schedule will be, but if there's other things that the board would like to hear about, talk about, looks like our agenda, is just that so far. But I don't know, Vi, if you think it's a lengthy conversation or how short. I guess you and I can really talk about that.
We can make it as short and long as we want.
Yeah, whatever you like. So I thought also just throw out an opportunity to kind of have a just that so far on next week's work session, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks work session. So just wanted to throw that out. And also on our agenda this evening are several staff appreciation motions from the board. And I just want to let you know, we did make it around a week ago. And with the directors and I, we passed out about 450 root beer floats and looked every staff member in the eye and thanked them for keeping us afloat, which we thought was kind of a cute little play on words, pun intended. It was a big day and we were all exhausted. I don't know how many steps we put in, but it was a lot. Went to all 8 locations. We had 6 buildings, transportation center and the maintenance department. And just we're able to look every staff member in the eye and thank them after what a tumultuous year we've had to show them how much we appreciate them. And sometimes it's the time you spend, not what you spend. And we did spend some time thanking them this last week. So it went very well. And I got a lot of nice notes back from them, thanking us for that and a lot of appreciative thoughts. So just want to make sure you knew that happened. At this time, then I think I'll let Ira introduce our guest tonight and kind of what we're putting in my report. So we move her to the front of the agenda so she can feel free to leave as if she would please. But otherwise, I'll let Ira take that over.
Thank you. From the State Auditor's Department, we have here this evening Lori Brody. She is the Northwest Region Liaison for the State Auditor. She called me a couple weeks ago congratulating the district for our financial reporting and asked if she could make a presentation at the board. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Lori.
Good evening. I hope you can hear me, all this mask stuff going on. But it's my honor to be here this evening on behalf of State Auditor Keith Faber, and I'm here to present the Fremont City Schools with the Auditor of State Award for your last audit. And it's just important to note, I like to come in person to let you know that puts you in the top 8%. The auditor's office audits about 5,900 entities per year, so it's pretty good. And The award puts you just in a very select group. The Auditor State Awards presented to local governments, counties, cities, school districts upon the completion of a financial audit that meet the following criteria of what we call a clean audit. And I like to read these, not to bore you with them, but the list is as follows. The entity must file their financial reports with the state auditor within 150 days of fiscal year end. You must have a clean audit with no findings for recovery, material citations, material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or single audit findings or question cost. The entity's management letter contains no comments related to ethics referrals, question costs less than $10,000, lack of timely report submission, reconciliation, failure to obtain a timely single audit, findings for recovery less than $100, public meetings or public records problems. The entity shall have no other financial concerns. So it's a pretty long list. But the award, I think, represents the hard work of all the employees in your school district that strive every day to be careful with the taxpayers' money and do their job efficiently. But I also want to recognize the superintendent and all of the school board members for accounting for every dollar in the school district. And I especially want to recognize Ira Hammond, your treasurer, and his staff for doing an outstanding job in their commitment to fiscal integrity. Just on behalf of the auditor, Keith Faber, just thank you for doing a great job and brought this award for you guys, put in your finance department. So it's to the Fremont City School District for having an outstanding audit last year. So great job.
Thank you.
I'll give that to you.
Thank you, and we do appreciate that.
Yeah. Yep. Takes a team in a school,
Absolutely.
especially.
It does. It's no one individual. It is collectively the unit.
Yeah. And the auditor appreciates it. So I will come back next year, bring you the next one, and I tell everyone because
Awesome.
it makes the auditor's jobs even easier when you have great financial people. So I do understand Ira is leaving, but I think you're in good hands, it sounds like, and I look forward to working with the next person. So
And I might add, this is the second year in a row.
yes, yep. So, and it only goes back 5 years, but I'm pretty sure Fremont has won that before. But I think it's important for the school board and the superintendent to get some recognition. You have to keep your eye on it also. So we appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for coming in person. That means a lot to us.
Oh,
you.
heck yes. This is my
Thank you
favorite
very
part of the
much.
job.
Thank you.
Usually if I say state auditor's office, people come out and look at me. But if I come in with an award, they're like, it's the only time we want to see you. So, yeah. But
Thank
anyway,
you.
I do appreciate it. I'll probably sneak out so you can have your meeting. But thank
feel
you so
free.
much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Ms. Brody, may I tell your story about your son just real quick?
Yes. Yes.
And you may have remembered a few weeks ago, I put it in my weekly. We had one of our swim pool records was set by Ms. Brody's son as a visiting swimmer. Boy, 8 years ago, maybe?
He graduated in 2014, so it was probably 2013, I think.
Okay, so yeah, pretty close, about 8 years ago. And she was here and knew that record had been broken this winter by another swimmer. So the placards that are up in the pool, we typically throw them away when there's pool records from students from other schools because, we don't know where they are, what's going on. Right. But she found us. She tracked us down and said, can I have that plaque when you're done? So we were able to reunite young Ethan? No.
Nick Brody.
Nick.
I saw him this weekend. I had this. It's bigger than it looks. When you
It's huge.
give it to you. And I said, look what I have for you. And he was like, it was broken, but records are made to be broken. But we're from Toledo. He swam for St. Francis, but your pool luckily was new, starting in about 2010. We came here a lot. So I was only familiar with your athletic side over there. And I happened to be in the exit conference and we just started chatting. I said, are you throwing that away? Because I could give it to him. So, but thank you. He thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now he'll spend the rest of his life trying to find the right place to put that. Right.
Luckily, I took it to his apartment. So
That's his problem, right?
So I can't keep all this stuff.
Good for
Thank you. That was very nice.
My pleasure.
And
Thank
good luck
you.
to Ira. So,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Very much.
And really, my last note is kind of my chance to thank Ira for his
Yeah.
2 years, Ira?
Yes.
Yeah. Like the old joke, I've been married for 30 years and 10 of those have been happy. Well, Ira and I have been together for 2 years, and I'll say a couple months of those have been pretty good. No, I'm just kidding.
Sporadically, a day here and a day
Right.
there.
All kidding aside, Ira, it has been a joy to get to know you, not only as a treasure, but as a human being.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that is all.
Okay. Do we have anybody that said they wanted to speak to it?
No, we just put it on there just in case. And we had someone maybe hint at that, but did not come through. So we do not have anybody speaking to us this evening, Mr. Gorbetz. We're ready to continue our items.
Okay, recommendations.
Okay, going on page 2, we have item 1. These are our donations. We have Texas Roadhouse. Kelly Cart is the author of these children's books. We're very excited about it. If you don't know Kelly, she works down at GLCAP and procures lots of funds. So a lot of the monies we get are due to her hard work. She's a grant writer for GLCAP. So a lot of the things that happen in our community are a tribute to her. So she's also an author and has donated some books to us. We appreciate that. Sandy Hallett, MJ Phillips, and the Humbard family McDonald's, all for the donations this last month.
We have a motion to approve item 1.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Price,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Espiritu. As always, we're very appreciative of our donations. Roll call, please.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carried. Okay, we'll forego our legislative liaison report this evening. Continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gorbetz. Next are a few agreements. The first one is for A&G Educational Services, LLC, and that is the supports that we use for our students who go to LEAP. Now, LEAP is a off-site learning program for students with some difficulties. We don't always have students that go there. Right now, we do not, but we have this open just in case we do need that facility for some of our students. So with your approval for that. Item 3 is just the approval to, once again, join the Ohio High School Athletic Association for this next year. And item 4 is for this fall, we have found that there's a increasing workload for our school psychologists working with our parochial schools. A lot more students being referred, a lot more testing being done. So we have partnered with Woodmore Schools to get 2 days a week from another psychologist with your approval. So this person will be at Woodmore Schools for 3 days a week and with us for 2. It really came at a good time because Abby and I have been talking about the need, and Mr. Tim over there at Woodmore called me and said, hey, we need a little time. Can you share with us? So with your approval, we'll split 3-2 with Woodmore Schools starting this fall.
We have a motion for items 2, 3, and 4.
Interpret.
And moved by Mrs. Espiritu. Have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Price. Do we know how many students are served by the LEAP program?
None currently.
0.
Right.
And, okay. Roll call, please. Are there any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carried. Continuing.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Gorbetz. Next section are our policies. These are second readings and nothing due, but I did want to point out the last one, item 16 on the next page, was not listed in the original group. If you remember, we kind of hashed this out at our last regular meeting. I let you know, kind of, we've been working with the principals, get this dress code figured out. We made a few edits to what we had before, added some things, nothing big, but that final reading that is on for tonight. I don't know if you have any questions on that, but I think we've got a very nice workable dress code for next fall. So that's the only thing different from the first reading, is that we added that. And just for clarification, we're adding that as a second reading because we did discuss it as a policy change last time. If you remember, Chantel made a motion for it, and we counted that as our first reading. We are allowed to make edits in between first and second reading, so I think we're we're good to go tonight for second reading. That will allow us to then continue with our student handbook preparation for your approval as well. Thank you, Mr. Corbett.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve items 5 through 16? Moved by Mrs. Ray,
Second.
second by Mrs. Espiritu. Any questions or concerns regarding any of the policies listed? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carried.
All right, one of the best things we get to do is item number 17, and that is congratulate a young lady who's finished her high school diploma. If you notice, it's the 22 plus program, so it's taken a little while, but we're so proud of Tammy Lynn Hargrave Hoff for continuing her pathway to a diploma, and it is in every sense a Ross High School diploma. It's not a GED, it's not some other school, it's not an online school. This is a Ross diploma. So we're very proud of her, and with your approval, we will award and send our congratulations for her new diploma.
Motion to approve item 17.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Price,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Espiritu. I need to mention, I want to emphasize, and Mr. Detweiler alluded to it, but it really has required a great deal of intestinal fortitude
You
and
got it.
courage. And I'm very pleased.
That takes a lot of guts, a lot of character to finish that up, especially that late. Impressive.
This one really sticks out.
Yep.
As a significant achievement. Roll call, please.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carried. Okay, staff matters.
Thank you, Mr. Gorbetz. Item 18 begins the list of appreciation. So we did hit the bus drivers up. Item 19 is our child nutrition, is our cafeteria staff. Item 20 are school nurses. We were joking that we didn't give them the most healthy treat in the root beer float, but we did. It was delicious. Item 21 then are our teachers. So those are the official, and those are nationwide weeks that we're recognizing. So with your approval, we'll officially thank them from your point of view.
Okay, motion to approve those items. Moved by Mrs. Ray,
Second.
second by Mrs. Espiritu. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes, motion carried.
Item 22.
Moving along to item 22.
Okay. If you'll call, if you could slide that walk on into this section, adding Alyssa Fry into this section. So there'll be, I believe, 3. Yes. I guess there's one continued. So 4 total. Mary Kramer, Vivian Swartz, Beth Schilling, and then we're adding Alyssa Fry to those 4 in item 22. Item 23 is an appointment for Kenneth Missler as custodial 2. Item 24. Now, these next 3 sections are that time of year that we're awarding new contracts. So behind all these recommendations are evaluations and contract language and all the things that it takes to get on these lists. So I just want to recognize before we start this, all the work that's done in Sue King's department with Tina Myers. They're just all over this to make sure we get it right. You can imagine just how accurate it needs to be and has to be when you're dealing with contracts and renewal and pay and everything else. So a lot of work represented in these next few sections. So item 24 are the administrative limited contracts. Those are our renewed 3-year people. If you notice, those go from 21 to 24. Some of our veterans on there. Luckily, Andrew's on there too. Andrew, we're glad to see you on there very much, by the way. Item 25 then continues that same group. These are the 2-year contract folks. These are the kind of the little newer crowd. So our path is usually a couple of years of 2s, and then we move into 3s. So item 26, this is Mr. Anway, and this needs to be separated out because Mr. Anway is one of our only retirees. So that's why he's pulled apart and treated a little differently than the others. Item 27, these are limited contracts for certified staff. So these are all of our 2-year teachers. You can see that's quite a long list. This is kind of that standard every 2-year contract. So quite a long list. It starts with Tiffany Bilbrey and ends with Teresa Wright. So that's item 27A, I believe. Yes. Then item 27B are the limited contracts for our certified staff that would be just 1-year contracts. This then gets back to those who have are just going through the resident educator program. So it's really about a 1-year thing, kind of the youngest or a newer group there. So they'll have 4 1-years before then they qualify for the 2 in the normal progression. Item 28 then are extended days, and that also goes on to the next page. If you notice, it does say in the right-hand column, days up to, there are those who don't need all those days, and we don't make them use them if they can get their job done or feel satisfactory doing so. They do have that option. Item 29 are a few supplemental contracts. The first group are all of our certified staff, and every one of them are returning. So it's always nice to have some consistency. No newbies on that group. Those are certified folks. Item 30 then are non-certified, also returning coaches. You see Sue, Jonathan Minnick, and Haley Myers. Item 31 are some more event workers. Maybe the only thing noteworthy there is just so you see, Chad Burnt is approved, but we do host some other school events that are not ours, and then he's eligible to be paid for that. Obviously, if there are events, he's working for us. But if it's a non-Fremont City School event, he is eligible for pay if someone would rent the facilities. Item 32 are a couple status changes. The first 3 are due to continued education, and the last 2 are due to years of experience. That's item 32. Then item 3, this is a big one, and I'm just going to scan forward. You know, we've talked about the souped up summer program. This is what you're about to do is approve those. If you remember, you approved our administrators at our last meeting, the administrators of our 2 programs, or 3 programs. These are all now the teachers and the bus drivers and everybody else is going to be part of it. Custodians, cooks, that whole group is part of item 33. So the first section of teachers, then secretary, more teachers, substitute secretaries, drivers there, top of page 15, more teachers, and each area is listed then where they'll be and what they'll be doing. I didn't want to bore with all of that, but I just want to kind of point out, those are all the things that we're doing this summer to help kids recover. So it's a much more complete effort than in the past. I mean, we just have really ramped that up a lot of opportunities for students to learn this summer. So that goes on to the top of page 16, all the way down to the bottom where we have item 34. So there's a lot there, and I want to point it out to you, but that's really what that is, all of our summer programming. Item, and also ESSER pretty much funding all of those. So that's that federal dollars supporting all of our recouping of our learning for our students. Item 34 then is our substitutes for the summer programs. Also people available as substitute supervisors, substitute teachers, and then other substitutes continued on page 17. Item 35 covers the food service for our summer programs. We have cooks, a site supervisor there, Candy Kane, and another cook. So 3 cooks and a supervisor in item 35. And then item 36, a substitute for those summer food service people with Aaron and Dawn. That's a lot. But I'd happy to answer any questions if I can.
It's gonna be a busy summer.
It's going to be quite a summer.
Yeah.
That's exactly that's a good way to put it. It'll be quite a summer.
Miss Kane's going to really be busy. She's
I'm sorry.
Andy Kane, Miss Kane.
Yes.
She's going to really be busy because she's with
Supervisor.
2 different programs,
Correct.
purple and white, and then.
That's right. That's right. It's a big summer of food service. You're right. Yeah, you're pointing out, Vi, that we're still running our weekly district-wide food program along with the individual education programs. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. Not a normal summer, for sure. Not that that was possible, right? Right. No
We have
surprise,
that.
I suppose. Yeah. Nothing's normal.
Yeah, can we have a motion to approve items 22 through 36?
So moved.
Move, Mr. Price.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Espiritu. Are there any discussion items for those?
May I point out an edit? Actually, Ira caught this. Ladies and gentlemen, at the top of page 15, it's a typo. At the very top section in that longer paragraph there, it says June 14th to July 9th, 2021, excluding July 4th and 5th, 2019. That should be 2021 as well. Just a
saw
date
that.
problem there. And Ira caught that astutely. Just want to point that out. I think we would understand that. We can't give them a holiday from 2 years ago, but we might as well make it right. Although maybe they ask for the 2 days off. I don't know.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz,
Yes. Gary? Okay,
I have nothing in curriculum.
curriculum is empty.
Correct. Nothing there.
Fiscal matters, report recommendation of the treasurer.
I got a couple items here. I would, if you don't mind, I would like to add an additional one. Typically, we do it in June, but because of the transition, I'd like to make sure that it's on the record so that we don't forget it. And that is due to the construction project, we're obligated to move $309,000 from the permanent improvement fund to the 034 fund. And so I would seek your approval tonight to be able to make that transfer from the permanent improvement to the 034 for our agreement with the OFCC and the construction.
And 034 would be,
Building maintenance fund, is that the best?
Yeah, building and facility management.
Are we just gonna put that on as at the end, item 39?
Yes. Exactly what I was thinking, sir.
Read your mind. Great minds think alike.
There you go.
So item 37, that is account management. It's a TPA third-party administrator we use for retrospective rating for our workers' comp. That does come out of our workers' comp fund. Looking for your approval for that.
are we doing each one individual?
Yeah, the way it's set up here.
Okay. We have a motion to approve item 37.
Moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ray,
Second.
second by Mrs. Espiritu. Are there any concerns regarding item 37? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes, motion carried.
Moving on to item 38, this is the update of the 5-year forecast. You had it in your packet. I also made a copy for you tonight. And the things that I would like to talk about, this is virtually the same thing we approved in March when I updated it, but we're required to make a submission in May. And I just wanted to talk about these few items. This is a much better forecast than what we looked at in May. And it's really because item 1, general property taxes, that's going to come in this year right at about $10,822,000, which is up from what we forecasted even in March. And that's because numbers are more firm now. And I know that's bad grammar. I apologize.
Sounds good.
But the same as, if you look at the next line item, the tangible personal property, that number dropped a little bit compared to what we were expecting. So it's at $1.9 million. The income tax, school district income tax, which was the guy in the brush, that was the one that was really hard for me to get my hands on. I figured if we came in at 8.1, I'd be happy. Well, it came in at 8.3 million. So just a nice boost there. And then going on down from that column 2021, previously I had operating transfers in of $1 million. If you'll notice, that yellow spot is 0. And that was going to be transferred in from the PI. So based on the projections, we don't need to do that this year. On the expense side, supplies and materials, that was at 900,000. I reduced it by 100,000. And we still may have a little wiggle room there. We may have a little wiggle room going back up to the top at the revenue side. We still may have a little wiggle room with state funding. I'm showing currently at 17.6, possibly another couple hundred, but we won't know until we get closer to the end of the year on that. But with those, I guess 2 other changes I need to mention. Going back up to the real estate, the general property tax, I had budgeted in 2022 a 3% increase because I was not expecting fiscal 21 to be as good as it was. So I reduced that back to 2%, which is the way 2023 and 24 and 25 are budgeted. Just a refresher, jumping down again to the expense for this year. You'll notice the personal services line, $21,664,000. And if you compare that to last year or to the following years, that's a result of us taking current expenses that would be hitting our general fund and utilizing ESSER or wellness and success dollars, which has given us the ability to reduce that this year out of the general fund. If you flip over to the second page, and I'm going right to the third line down where it says cash balance June 30th, 7.020. So we should end up this year at about 5.6 million. Next year at about 3.386. And in 2023, 1,541,000. Now, fiscal 24 shows a minus 4,008,000. But a big chunk of that is if you look down to the next black number you see in that column, that's the income tax renewal of 4.3 million.
Okay.
So right now, based on where we're at, we're looking pretty decent. But it's been because we've had the ESSER and wellness and success dollars that we've been able to take advantage of. Hopefully we will do that in fiscal year 22 and get rid of some of this deficit spending and make us look healthier. July of this year will be our final payment to AMP.
Thank
So-
you.
Mhm.
So that is $1 million. Well, it's been $1 million every payment period for the last 2 years. So the spring collection, the summer collection, spring collection, and finally summer collection. So that'll be $4 million that we're done with. And we can go back to the operating. And then now we have the Nexus piece of that. And that boat got kicked down the road to November. I don't know what to tell you.
Who knows?
I don't know where it'll go.
But at least with the Nexus pipeline, it looks like we're on the other side
You
of what
got it.
happened with AMP.
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
cross our
Hopefully,
fingers, but
hopefully.
at least we're not on. It doesn't look as bad like
Yeah.
what it did with AMP.
For
so.
sure.
we could still be
Depends on what happens.
Right.
10,
You never
10 to
know.
12% because they did go back and challenge. And what they did spring of this year, they dropped the value of their inventory. And so even though we're budgeting at, i.e. 48%, it's on lower value of inventory. And so we don't know.
Right.
We don't know. I know one of the things that we've been discussing, it's not in these projections, and it would not be right if I didn't at least mention it. As you know, the rent on the administration office is coming up in August, September. Any increase there, which we know will be an increase, but I have no idea what that number will be. It is not projected in these expense numbers. But whatever that number is, if it's a 10,000 increase or a 30,000 increase, it will have that impact on the bottom line here. But I want to make you aware of that so that it's not a surprise. Any questions?
Okay. We have a motion to approve item 38.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Price, second by Mrs. Ray. Any other concerns or questions regarding our forecast? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes, motion carries.
And item 39 is approval to transfer 309,000 and change from the permanent improvement fund to the 034 facility maintenance fund for our agreement with OFCC.
Is it 309,000 or 109,000?
309.
309.
309.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve item 39?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Price, second by Mrs. Ray. Are there any questions regarding that? We're doing that because they're making us do it, or because
Yes,
there's
we are required to do that. We are required to do that every year.
exactly that amount of money?
Yes.
309,000.
Same number every year. The 034 fund is a fund that we can only use it for certain things, and we are kind of locked into that restrictive usage of funds for 23 years, I believe it is.
if you remember that when we built this building, it was an OFCC project. Part of an OFCC project has maintenance dollars built into it by law. So this is just matching what we're required to put into that each year. It has almost $3 million in it now, Ira. Does that sound?
Yes.
So there's a lot of money in our O34, more than we would ever need. And part of that, remember we talked about the struggle, because some of that can only be filters and, service contracts. I mean, it's a pretty narrow scope for the amount of money we have. Now that we are a K-12 OFCC district, now we can use those in all of our buildings. So that's going to free that money up to help us. Because before, we could only use that, even 8 months ago, we could only use that money for this building. So we had $3 million for this building to buy filters. So luckily I'm a little bit sarcastic there with the filters. That's one of the things, it's that regular maintenance kind of things, right? So I say filters with a little bit of sarcasm, but unfortunately we'll be able to do it district wide now in all of our educational buildings, use those funds. So it's a little better.
And there's a couple of things that he said that I'd like to just kind of reiterate. Prior to us doing the elementaries in the high school, we could only use that O34 fund for the middle school.
Right.
Once we refinanced and we put the elementaries in the high school in, now, and his wording was the educational buildings. So we can't use it for transportation. We can't use it for the track.
Right.
But
District office, yeah.
It's giving us the ability to, we have to be creative, but we can use it and it will help us.
And that was one of those things when we were doing the bond levy to build the schools, that some people in the community their questions were,
right,
how are you going to maintain these new buildings then? And that was one thing to explain, that's built into the tax money that's coming in from that bond issue, that it has to be there. So, I mean,
that's right.
So that's why it's built in. So we have it there to maintain the
Absolutely.
buildings.
That's truly one of the things I think the state's gotten correct.
Yeah.
Is that. Because it really does. It forces you to put money aside to take care of the buildings that they help us build. Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure it came like anywhere else, that there have been districts that didn't do that.
You got it.
And they don't plan well, just like anybody else. You don't plan for retirement. Now you have no money left. What
Exactly
do you do?
right. And you can't fix things.
Yep.
It's good. The downside is, or the challenging piece is, they do put some restrictions on how you use it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Right.
But it's beneficial for us.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call, please.
We did.
We did. I thought that was our discussion.
I'm sorry. Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, board member communications and information, Mr. Price.
Well, congratulations on the district, especially the treasurer's office, for the audit award. 2 years in a row, top 8% of all public governments that they audit.
8%. That's
yeah,
good.
that's how many thousands did they say they audit?
Well, there's 600 public districts, so it gives you an idea.
Yeah, and that's just school districts. So
Right.
Congratulations. I mean, that takes some work for everybody
Yes.
involved. So congratulations on that.
Approximately 5,900 entities that they audit.
Wow.
Yeah, so top 8%, we'll take that.
Take it.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. That's an A.
Yeah.
That's a 92%. That's an A.
Great job for Tammy Hargrave. Like you guys were saying before, that takes some guts to just put your nose to the grind and say, I'm going to do this and get it done. So congratulations to her. A couple of the resignations I know pretty well. Beth Schilling and Mary Kramer, they were custodians at Krogan, and that's where my wife Tia was a teacher. So they kind of helped teach my daughters that went through there too.
Yeah.
They know my daughters really well. So thank you, Beth and Mary, just because I know you guys personally for the work that you've put in over the years. and helping out with kids. I mean, they're just an extension of the teachers a lot of times.
Absolutely.
So, my kids always loved helping Beth after school, and with Mary coming in the afternoons and helping her. So, and they put them to work. So I'm glad that they did that. So, the only other thing I had, and I thought it would maybe fit well with looking at for the agenda for the next
Okay.
time, is for us as a board, if we want to have a discussion about when we want to, if there's a time frame involved in allowing guests to come back in, to filter back in and have a regular public meeting. Not that we still won't have it online for people to see, but to offer that up so they don't have to try to get in touch with the district office on Friday.
Right.
I mean, the more and more that we try to get things back to normal, we need to have a regular public meeting. I know sitting on the Vanguard board, quite a few of those districts have in-person meetings and have for quite a while. So it's not out of the norm to not allow people in. So I just thought maybe as a board, that's something, since it's a work session for that board meeting anyway, at least it's something we can start discussing and put on our radar. So that's all I have.
Well, I'd like to congratulate Ira. What a way to go out with a clean audit and being in the top 8%. And I know that everyone does their part. However, you're driving the bus. You're making sure all the figures are there and making sure all things are happening, and tell us when we can't do something, and keeping it all on track. So, thank you for your 2 years of, I can't imagine how, when you came in, how everything was, kind of in an uproar with the COVID, with all the things. And I'm really thankful that you were able to stay focused on track and able to make us look good at the last moment. I mean, I really appreciate your service.
Thank you.
And also, I do, as Tom said, want to congratulate Ms. Hargrave for her accomplishment. That's exceptional. It's wonderful. And last week was teacher appreciation. And as a board, I'd love to just let our teachers know how very much we appreciate all their sacrifices, all their creativity, and all the ways that they have helped our district to remain intact, and our children to learn and grow while they were learning and growing all different things. So I really want to say thank you to all our teachers and staff. And also, thanks to the administration who thought so carefully to serve each staff member, each teacher. That was awesome. When I saw you last week, I saw Mr. Detweiler. I said, you look, your eyes look a little tired. He said, well,
Yeah.
I think I'm a little tired. He had
Big day.
served how many, Mr. Detweiler?
450 or better, yeah.
150 individual floats, root beer floats, and that was neat to keep us. They kept us afloat. So
Yeah.
that was very, very timely. And always thankful for our donations. Appreciate our donations, our donors. Every little bit helps, and every big bit helps us to maintain our school and district and to serve our students. So thanks to our donors. And I think that is about all I have to say at this point.
I'll be repeating everything that's been said already. So congratulations to Ira and his team for winning the award from the auditor's office.
Mhm.
All your work, it just makes it satisfying for what you guys have gone through, and just
Mhm.
sometimes being short-staffed, and you guys were able to make it to the top 8%. So congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Tammy for getting her diploma. Thank the community always for their donations. They're always very helpful and appreciated.
And I appreciate Ira's efforts. Congratulations. Those reviews, those audits, they're not without their stress. Having been through many of those types of things, I can attest to the fact that come out with a performance as high as that is a big accomplishment.
Thank you.
I used to drive the bus during those periods of time when I was checked. And sometimes my bus had a flat tire at the end, but there were no flat tires. That's a huge accomplishment.
Great job.
And I think that's about it. So we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I just had one other thing I forgot to. I would just want to thank John to step up and drive a bus to fill in as a substitute teacher. I don't know how many superintendents do that around the state. I'm guessing we can probably count them on our fingers, is my guess. Leadership takes a lot of things, and leading by that example, in this day and age with everything going on, everybody has stepped up. But I think some of that goes back to the leader that they have. I mean, for you to step on a bus and say, yep, or to do a French class or to do another substitute class or whatever, you need to be commended for that. I think
Yes.
the hard work that you put in, it's not like you don't have a full-time job to begin with anyway. So, and I know that other people have to pick up the slack then if you're filling in. So it just goes to show that, when that leader steps up and does that, people are going to follow suit. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
You.
I enjoy. I was in 5th grade at Otis on Friday.
Yeah.
Did the whole day.
He thought
Yeah.
Mr. Detweiler was a substitute teacher in our building today.
And thank you. And and I've said this about my driving the bus all the time too. That whole thing, walk in my shoes. Yeah. Know what I'm doing. And then, so when they come to you with a concern, you understand what they're talking about. So boy, being back in the classroom is,
It's been a while.
Been a while. And I told Miss Bootsier, who I covered for, I said, I have just a brand new appreciation for what you do every day. So it's good for me. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, it keeps you young, right?
We're young. Yeah. Tired. I had a nap Friday after school. Exhausted.
Well, I tell people all the time, our superintendent drives the bus every now and then. They say, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he drives the bus. Short a bus drive. That's what puts Mr. Detweiler in a class by himself, because
Class A.
you are by yourself as far as that. Anyway, roll call, please.
Nobody made a motion.
I thought you.
I interrupted. Sorry. You asked for a motion to adjourn, and then I interrupted you. So that was my fault.
Okay, motion. Who'd like to make the motion to adjourn? Moved by Mrs. Espiritu,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Ray. Now, roll call, please.
Was it Spiritu?
Yeah.
Was this Ray?
Yeah.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbett?
Yes. And we are adjourned.